Hello everybody, and welcome back to another ASMR video. So today I wanted to show you some of my EDC gadgets and things. EDC in this case stands for everyday carry. So it's things you carry every day on you so that you're prepared for things and stuff that happens. There's also EDC is a type of music or a festival, I think. So I think of them both whenever I say it. So first off, this is this bag. It's by a company called Tactical Geek. And they sent this bag out to me to review on my other channel. And I just love it. It's more of a photography bag, but I took out the little divider system in there. There's normally a little divider that you can put lenses and cameras and stuff, but I don't think that worked incredibly well. So I took that out, which is removable, and now I just use it as kind of a big pouch, and I have other smaller pouches in there that I'll show you some things. So it has these webbing things that are called molly webbings, and you can put items in through the straps and attach things to it. In the military world, there's different types of, I think, webbing. There's generally I think a same size, but then there's different styles, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but it's been adapted to the common or civilian world. So I carry a carabiner on it, and this is just a really cheap, simple locking carabiner. I got a pack of like 5 or 6 of these a long time ago, and I thought it would be super cool to have the locking function. And now I actually think it's kind of annoying, but the carabiners are pretty decent quality, have lasted me a while, so I have had no reason to get rid of them or buy new ones. I know I could probably just remove the lock, but there's also this part of me that feels like I don't want to ruin something that's already put together. So I could just unscrew this and then have a regular carabiner, but I don't know, then it wouldn't be complete. And you'd have this thread here, which is kind of my, I don't know, autism or whatever, that it's not ideal, but I deal with it because I don't want to make it not like it was when I bought it, if that makes sense at all. Hopefully that makes sense. I do try to move this all the way back out here, but it just seems to always fall back down, and then just in my movement it'll just always work its way to just barely touching, so that I can't open it without actually unscrewing it. So it's kind of a long little explanation of this, but I still keep it and I use it. I have all of the ones, all 5 or 6 that came in my kit that I still use really often. So they're at a point where like I use them and try to abuse them, because I won't buy new things unless the old thing is broken, or as long as the old thing works. Even if it doesn't work the way I want it to, I generally will still use it until it breaks. But I'll get more and more or less careful with it and more careless so that it will break. But these have been very, very durable. So I have that. I have this kind of Molly clip hook thingy. And what I do is usually I'll attach sunglasses, so I wear glasses normally, and so like sometimes if I'm going out, I'll attach these, and then I'll put my sunglasses where these go. However I want. This is a little harder to get in than sliding. But I'll kind of use this as a sunglasses holder. And the cool thing about this is there are little slits here that are kind of like molly webbing but internal. So there's kind of two different styles of molly webbing here. And this is Velcro, so you can buy patches and put them on here and just kind of style out your bag. This is a Molly, I always kind of say Molly, I think it's Molly, it's M-O-L-L-E, but I always say Molly because it seems French. But I also 3D printed some things, that's what this is. It's so you don't have to feed your Molly pouch into there. You can put it on here, and this is more rigid. And it slides in a little more easy. So you can kind of slide this under here, and it'll kind of lock in a temporary pouch a little easier than taking the time to feed it all the way through the webbing. So that's a 3D print thing that I made that I use fairly often. So maybe I'll show you the bottom real fast because then I can get that done. On the bottom here is it's they're like kind of hair tie material, but they're a lot more heavy duty. And they have, I'll go this way. They have a little hook here, and this can hold like an umbrella, or again, since this is made for photography, it can hold a tripod. There's one on either side. And this thing can attach here. And then there's a little button on here as well. You could tighten these all up. And then you have a way to hold items on the bottom of your bag. There's also this strap. I guess this is becoming a video more about the bag than the EDC items, but I'll just quickly show you these things. So there's a strap. There's two different types of straps that I have for it. This one is a pull strap. So this one, you would pull, I don't know how long it's going to be, but you pull this one, once you get it on you, and it'd cinch up to your body. And then you pull this when it has some weight on it, and this will release the cinch on your strap. And then it also has this pivoting thing, so it kind of conforms to your body. And there's a button that allows you to pull it on and off if you want to use it that way. And then on the other strap, it's basically the same, but it has a big thick pad that has molly webbing along it. And then it has this thing which would attach onto it as a third point of contact. But I kind of wanted to show this thing. It's a 3D printed strap management item. So you just, when I downloaded this file, there's a couple different sizes. I just picked the size and how many, I guess, strap folds. And now I use this one so I don't have as much of the strap hanging out. And so I really like that. So onto the EDC things. I'll start with the back here. On the back, there is this first thing is a paracord holder. Again, I 3D printed the kind of core of it, and actually use this hair tie to keep it attached, because hair ties are pretty ubiquitous. They're like a nice bungee rubber band that's non-tangly, which you don't need so much for these, but sometimes it does help. So this is just a bit of paracord. I'm not exactly sure what unit of measurement, how many feet or yards this is, but there's enough if I need to make some sort of hanger thing, or usually it's for like photography and related stuff is why I carry all this. So if I needed to make a backdrop hanger or holder of some kind, or tie some things up, then there's enough here that I can do that. There's a little hole at the top if I want to hang it from something, and then there's two little slits here that you can just kind of pull the paracord back in. It is a little tight, so hopefully that goes in well. There we go. So I have paracord at the ready if I need it. I could probably keep this inside the bag, but it's actually quite fun to just have little things hanging off the side of the bag. Truth be told, I think a lot of people will do this type of stuff so that when someone sees it, another EDC person will either know what's going on and be like, hey, that's really cool, or people will start asking questions about it, and then it's like a good way to talk about EDC. So that's why I have that there. And then same thing with this one. This is another flashlight, and I probably should put this one here too, because I really like this light and I don't want to lose it. But I love how it almost fits perfectly right in this molly webbing. So it's just this really thin little light, just a cheap light that I got online. And there's a light on the end here, and there's a light sideways here. It's USB-C rechargeable, which I like. I think a lot of stuff these days is USB-C, but there's still a handful of things that have the USB micro on them. So I like that it's USB-C chargeable. And then on the back side there's a magnet, so I can actually stick it to something that's magnetic and then use this as a downward pointing light. Oh, this isn't too bright. You can turn this on. The one thing I don't like is you can actually see on the video that it's flickering. And I do like this light, but I think this particular lamp is a little bit lower quality, because to keep the brightness, it uses like the flickering technology where it turns on and off really fast to be at a certain power, rather than just using whatever technology, like I don't know if it's a diode or something, to actually lower the power. So I don't use the front facing a ton because I notice the flickering with my eyes. But so if you turn the light on and then you leave it on for a while, it will it'll be on, and then you can push the button again and it'll turn it off. But if you're within a few seconds, it'll start cycling through. So if I push it here, this will be on. And now this is on, the low power. And then it goes a little bit higher. I think there might be one more. Yep, so one more brightness. This one does do the flickering, but this lamp is a little bit different, that it I don't notice it too much with my eyes. I think there might be a police headlight on here. Let me try this. I don't want to blast you too much. So I think it goes, yeah, red and blue. And then it turns off. So the red and blue light is the diodes in the middle. I wish it would just be a solid red for like a night vision, or like a, not want to burn out your eyes if you're camping or something with turning on a bright light. So I kind of wish that was that, but I really like this light because it's just very slim, super lightweight, kind of really cool. It has a lot of features. The magnetic thing on the back is my favorite because I'm always pulling this out and sticking it to something and then using it as a work light. So on the bag there's a couple zippers, and back here I have some odds and ends. I think I have some charging cables, some extra napkins. So I have a couple of different, like a lightning cable. I have an extra hair tie, lightning cable, USB-C micro cable. Actually, maybe I don't have a micro in here. Oh, I'll need to get a micro. Oh, wait. Oh, I have 3 USB-C cables. Oh, no, sorry. I have a USB-C to USB-C, USB-A to USB-C, and I usually keep a micro SD or micro USB cable in here. Might be at the very bottom. Oh, yes. So then I have a micro USB just in case. Oh no, that's actually another USB. So I'm going to remove that from here. Put these ones back. And maybe I borrowed that out to somebody. I do have a ton of those, so I just kind of add new ones if I lose them. So in that pocket I keep some cables. Just so I have them. And I do have another cable thing I'll show you in a second. But that's in a separate bag that I do remove and put in different bags. So it's kind of redundant, but there's a reason. This pocket has a magnet on it and is for, they say it's for cell phones, but I actually like carrying a battery pack in here. I put my little star of approval on it. I got it from a event, and there's a couple USB A's and some C's, and so I keep this in here because it's just pretty slim. It fits in here. I have a drawer that has other USB banks, so I figure instead of keeping it just kept in a drawer, I could keep it in this bag and use it when I need it. I just keep a iPad mini in here, so I'll take this around with me, and if I have ideas or things, then I can carry it around. I have this little sticker because on the back side is the camera, and when I take it out I try not to touch it on the back side because being a photographer I hate touching camera lenses. So I have this so that I know where the camera is and where I should hold it. And then I have my pencil and all that stuff, so I use this whenever I need for ideas or just doing work. And this thing fits in here quite nicely. So I have a few pieces of camera here. And I'll probably just show you this little pouch more in depth, but I'll just mention that I have this pouch here. This has an Action 5 and then the batteries and charger on this side. So I carry this around in case I need to do a video or want to vlog or something. I have the tripod for it. It also has the little connector on it, so I carry that around. Set that right there. I have a phone, like a really beefy phone clamp that'll clamp on, so it's not spring-loaded, it's actually clampable. That has a few, features and things on it. I carry this around in case I want to just use my phone on that tripod. And then for the EDC stuff, so I have this little notebook. It's a place for notes that I haven't really used yet. I just got it not too long ago. I don't use notes a lot, but I do like the idea of having, I don't use paper notes a lot, but I like the idea of having it. I generally use my iPad for most things because it syncs across my devices, because whatever I write in this book is going to be only in this book. But I like the idea of having a piece of paper if I need to rip something out or write something to somebody or leave a note on a car, I can. Obviously a pen for notes. I kind of want to get a smaller pencil, but this is what I have for now. And then there is some tape, just some paper tape for whatnot, which I might actually put this in my kit here when I show that, because I think it should go in there. And then really quickly, I just have this kind of cheap Leatherman. And I wish there was a space in here, because I don't love keeping the case around. I could probably put the case on the outside, but I'd rather keep it on the inside. And I don't really want to have to open this to open that than to open this. So I'm trying to figure out a way to use this without a case. But this one is just a $20 Leatherman knockoff, but it is amazing. I really like this. It's got all your tools on the side, your one-hand opening. It's got a really cool blade. It's got some scissors. Everything has a lockable thing on the outside. It's been a while since I've used these. There you go. Scissors are kind of nice. They're kind of far away from the thumb, but they're really nice scissors. It has a sawtooth blade, and then it has a file with the file on this side. You can use this as a very large screwdriver, and then there's kind of a ruler here. So I really like that. When you open it up, this one's pretty new, so I haven't really used it a lot, so it's kind of sticky. So this is the inside. It's spring-loaded. Which is kind of cool. I have ones that are not spring-loaded. I'm kind of undecided. I think they're fine in either situation. It has replaceable wire cutters. And then on the inside, it's got tools. It's got this awl, which I really love. I always need to poke a hole in a belt or something. And the cool thing is it has this hole in here, so if you poke a hole in something, you can use it like a needle to pull a paracord or something through. But the cool thing about these is everything on the inside is locking. So there's these little buttons on the end that you can push, and they are locking. So there's it's a Phillips screwdriver head, and then there's a couple of different flat heads. I feel like for this, there's probably more flat heads than is needed. So there's a can opener, the little sharp side, and then flat head. There's a bottle opener, and a flat head. And then there's a hook kind of cutter. This one doesn't have a flat head though. But so it has a lot of really cool features for the price that it was. It was 100% worth it. I really enjoy this. And it feels, sorry, this is kind of clicky. It feels super well made. It's all metal. It's really hefty. For $20, I think this is going to last me a long, long time. So that's one EDC item. I probably won't click that because it's going to be loud. And then the main thing is this little pouch, which I'll move this thing out of the way. So here is the pouch. This is just kind of a generic EDC pouch. So they sew in pockets and things, and you just kind of use it how you want to. I think it got sewn weird because I probably need to unstitch some things in there, because there's always kind of a weird little lopsided thing here, but there's a pouch on the outside, which I've filled up this bag too full to really use the pouch on the outside, but depending on how you fill it, you can use the outside pouch for quick access stuff. There's some Velcro that keeps it closed. There's Velcro on the front if you wanted to put a patch on it as well. On the back side, there's a little loop, and these things can come unbuckled. Hopefully this isn't too loud. So then you can feed this thing through whatever you want. There's some molly webbing here as well if you wanted to feed something through that. Just kind of different ways of attaching the bag. And then there's some really grabbable zipper pulls. I really like these. And then some thick zippers. So then inside here, I have a whole plethora of just little things. So first off is this magnet, which sticks to everything. So I'll kind of move it out of the way first. But it's just a fairly powerful magnet on a carabiner. This is for keys or something, they say, but I guess it's easier to put this on here. So yeah, if I need to like pick something up or find a screw or something, like I always do the keys falling down the water drain or whatnot. So magnets are pretty useful, I think. So I have that. And then I'll just go from left to right. This is a 3D printed set of calipers. I feel like it's pretty accurate. It's very fun to use. It goes up to 2 inches or 50 millimeters. 5 centimeters, I guess, 50 millimeters. I'm in America, so I sadly don't use the metric system. But yeah, I feel like this is, for a 3D printed thing, I feel like it's pretty well done. Hoping that focuses too well. Or hoping that focuses well. So it's just kind of a cheap thing. Sometimes I'll have to measure a bolt or a thing for like a photography thing I need to fix, or figure out how big or thick or something is. So I use these pretty often, more than I would think. And there's a little carabiner hole. But yeah, just a free 3D print. And then there's a lighter, which is handy to always have something that, provides heat or light. have a few things in here for it if needed. There's kind of a multi-kit. I used to carry a bunch of things on a keychain and carry that around with me, and this is kind of the leftovers from that. Kind of all stuck together, but this one is a USB light. So you plug this into any USB-A port, and these 4 white squares are diodes, and there's a little switch here which allows you to change, I think this one's just brightness. I have a couple more of these ones, and some of them will change color, and some of them are just white, but you can change the intensity. I can't remember which one this one is, but there's a switch. I wonder if you can hear this. I think it's a really satisfying switch to push. So then you can see the electronics on it. So it's kind of like a little emergency flashlight for urban areas. If you're just like, the power's gone out or something, and maybe a laptop has a battery with it, you can plug this in. Although it's kind of getting or already outdated because it's USB-A. So I wonder if they make USB-C ones of these, because yeah, I liked the idea that you could just plug it into something that might have a battery or still have power in an emergency. I do have the battery pack, so I can plug it into there. So I do have the flashlight on there, and then this flashlight, so it's 2 options for light. This big main thing is a really old, it's one of the first EDC things I bought. It's meant to be a keychain, but it has this little rotatable thing. It's like a tool thing that really isn't that good, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of gimmicky. These are supposed to be a Phillips head screwdriver. There's supposed to be 2 of them, like one's a bigger one, and then this one over here is a thinner one. And you're kind of really supposed to just use it this way, I suppose. There's a smaller flathead. And there's a, what is this thing? There's, medium, small. I don't know, this just says SML on it. So I've never really known what they're for. I don't know if it's to wedge something or whatnot. There is a little blade on here, and supposedly you line up this little U thing, and it says wire, so it's for wire stripping. But I don't really know how that would work. Maybe just guide the wire down. There's a file on the back, which I've used many times when I had a hangnail or something. There's, obviously, how to take these things off real fast. So there's the carabiner. And then there's these little step-ups or wrenches. And then there's some more wrenches. There's like a 1/4 inch and 3/8 on these 2. There's a bike spoke wrench. This little thing here is supposed to be something. I think it might have, it says open box, so I don't know if you're supposed to just run this along the tape side, but these are thin enough that I have used this side before. This is supposed to be a flathead screwdriver, and then this is supposed to be a nail puller, And then you can also use this as a pry bar. But I've used this to split or to strip wires before. So this thing's a very interesting tool because it's, and then there's obviously the ruler on the side. There's a lot of cheesy things on it, but there's a lot of kind of useful things. There's a lot of things that seems like it works better for what they... There's a lot of things that seem like it works better for what they didn't intend it to be. So I've had this one for almost 10 years. This one actually is TSA approved, even with that tiny little wire blade on there. So I've carried this around to many events and things and used it quite a lot. So there's that. Then there's another file, because I'm always somehow catching my fingernails on things, so then I'll have to like file them off. And again, I was using this all the time, but it's not the greatest. It kind of does the job in a pinch. So then I got this because this one's a lot better and it's more dedicated and larger and meant for it. So there's that on there. And then there is some tweezers, which these ones have their really kind of interesting way of holding it. You squeeze them together. There's a hole, and it sits in this tiny little holder thing. And there's this thing that's folded down to protect you, because these are very, very sharp, actually. That's why I love them, because I can sometimes look at these really thin, like metal shavings or a thin wood splinter, and it's very good for getting in there and getting them out. I have had these for a while, and I don't use them a lot, which is why they're still sharp. I think if I use these often, the tip would wear out, but I try to use them sparingly because they're pretty nice, pretty cool. So there's that little keychain item. Then next to that, I have what is this thing called? A figure 9 carabiner. So there's a hitch called the trucker's hitch, I believe, that you can do with rope to like attach like a tarp or tie something down in a truck. And it's a kind of an older knot that I sometimes know how to do, sometimes I forget. But this thing is basically it in a hardware piece. So you'd carabiner down this thing onto something, and then maybe you can see this. There's some markings on the side that tell you how to run your rope. So you run it up through here, and then back through here, and then it has these little teeth that kind of lock down the rope side so that it won't slide out. So I have a couple of these. I have some larger, heavier duty ones in my car, because the trucker's hitch is nice. I just don't use it enough, and it takes me a couple tries to remember it when I do, and I would rather just kind of get the thing done that I need to have done. So I will just use one of these on a D-bolt or something in my car, and then just tie something down really quickly. And this is a smaller version of it if I need to, paracord something to something else at a photo shoot or pick something. So I keep that in there. On this side I have a small little first aid kit. So there's some Purell bandages, Purell sanitizer. There's some bandages. This one's waterproof. There's some more Purell. On the back, this pouch is actually a it's easier to just use this. I've ripped this, so I might need a new pouch. So there's some kind of water bandages. There's some smaller ones. There's a compress or something. This one is a non-stick. Actually, with this, I kind of pulled these out of a old first aid kit that had been mostly used. So a sterile pad looks like. And then some more, antibiotic ointment, like I think it's Neosporin, that's what it is. So there's these that I just kind of keep in their little pouch. I do keep some nitrile gloves in here, but I used them for a part of a photo shoot actually, and haven't refilled them. So I need to do that. So I keep that in this big pocket here. Off to this side is, this one's kind of an emergency USB cable. Sorry, this thing's got caught in here. This thing is kind of annoying, but I keep it on here just to protect the ends. And this thing's really cool because it's just this kind of emergency cable, so it magnets itself together. There's little magnets down here, so you can use it on your keychain if you want. But there is a USB-A side here, which could go then to a lightning cable. The lightning cable is made in such a way, hopefully you can see that there's a USB micro in it, so you can put this into a micro USB port or a lightning cable port, and then you can pull this thing apart, and there's a USB-C connector on the bottom, so you have USB-A to USB-C, and you probably can already tell that this thing can pull apart. So now you have USB-C to USB-C, or put this back on, and now you have USB-C to lightning or micro. So this kind of just covers all the bases. And so I keep this in this pouch. So if I ever need a cable, then I just have one in a pinch. Just kind of have it in here. I can put this back in here really easily. I have a couple extra hair ties because I have long hair, and so I'm always putting it up to work or eat. And then sometimes I just use them for utilitarian purposes, like if I need to bungee something together, because I can pick these up at the grocery store for really cheap, so I just have these all over the place. Then I'll go back here, I have another smaller bunch of paracord, and again, when I carry this pouch, I obviously have backups or redundancy from the paracord I had on the bigger bag, but I take this pouch out of it and put this in other places, so I generally will kind of move it from place to place, so this pouch might go with me to a place that doesn't have any paracord, and so now I have it with me. I think that's all I have in this bigger pouch back here. Oh no, there we go. There's this little holder for some duct tape, which actually I wanted to put this tape with it, because it's nice to have a couple different options for tape. So I gotta put those in there. And then the last pouch I'll show you, hopefully this video isn't too long, is this little random problem-solving pouch. So I'm not sure maybe I can take some of these things out. So I don't use this too much, but because it's meant to be when you need it, it's there. Oh, also I cut down this little piece just so it's easier to slide my thumb in and just get it open. I thought that was kind of a fun little thing. But within here there is, gotta put some of these out. I might have redundancy, so it's kind of nice that I check all these. Because now that I'm looking at it, I realize I have some tape, but this one is only, I think it's on a little credit card, so this is only, it goes from here just around, you can see the end. So there's just a tiny bit, and I guess I didn't remember I had it, and I 3D printed it, so now I have an emergency thing of tape. I have some extra notes. So this is some note paper, just some card that I cut up. So if I need to leave a note there, again, I've had this pouch for a long time, so I kind of forgot what I had in it. Some shout wipes. Actually, I put this on this back side. It's kind of already folded and conformed that way. So then I have some heat shrink tubing, which is why I have the lighter. So I have a couple of different sizes. If I just need to mend something back together, I can do it and use the lighter to heat shrink that. I have a couple of small glue sticks. And same thing, if I needed to glue something, I can heat this up on the end, push it up against something, and then glue it together, or just snip off a piece and melt it. So there's those. Oh, here's another little bit larger heat shrink tubing. Then I have probably way too many safety pins, but I kind of wanted an even number. I might actually take some of these out. So I have 4 of these big ones, which I don't need 4. So I have some safety pins of varying sizes. And then the last thing are these command strips, just these tiny, smaller ones. There's 4 of these. And obviously these are here in case I need to hang something on a wall, or just needed some other way of sticking things where these tapes don't work. And again, some of these pouches are pouches I've made a while ago, and so there's kind of duplicate things in here. But hopefully this video was kind of interesting to you. And if you're asleep, I hope you have sweet dreams. And if you're awake, thank you for being here.